Hello everyone, and welcome to a very nice game played between Arnold Schwarzenegger and 12-year-old Michael K. It was played in the Arnold Sports Festival in Melbourne, Australia. Among other sports, there was also chess. So before the chess tournament started, Arnold decided to open the tournament by playing a game against 12-year-old Michael. And they played without clocks, as you'll see in the not in the description, but as you'll see after the video. We do have a short clip of this game, so we are going to show it. The game, the moves, the clip, the photos, everything was sent to me by a subscriber, Bxd4 who also runs a YouTube channel of his own. I will put a link to his YouTube and Instagram account in the description below, so feel free to check it out. It's always very nice when someone sends you such a nice game. But yeah, without further ado, let's check it out. Arnold has the white pieces and he opens with d4. And okay, we have d5 by Michael, we have knight to f3 by Arnold, and c5. Michael goes for the Krauss variation. We have d captures on c5. Arnold early leaves the center. We have e6 now, preparing to recapture with the bishop. Knight to c3 and just bishop captures on c5. And Arnold wastes no time, he attacks the center. We have e4. You could capture, but not something black really wants to do, as queen captures queen would not allow black to castle anymore. So d4, advancing the pawn and attacking the knight on c3. We have knight to b5, preparing bishop to f4 with this nice knight to c7 check that would pick up the rook. Knight to c6, black develops, and now Arnold continues with his plan. We have bishop to f4, and now of course the threat is knight to c7. This will come with check, so you do have to prevent this. Michael stops this by playing bishop to b6. Now the bishop also controls the c7 square, and here there is a game that continued knight to d6 check. And also you could continue, really a powerful variation would be bishop to c4. Just after black decides to go for castling, now you go knight to d6 check. And after the king moves, knight g5, and now there's very little you can do to prevent knight captures on f7. It's just a powerful attack by white. But here Arnold has a different plan. He goes knight to e5, with knight captures, bishop captures, and now f6. Knight to c7 check is still not possible, and here Arnold's bishop on e5 is under attack. So what do you do here? Arnold goes for knight to d6 check. You could just pick up the bishop, both the knight, the bishop, and the queen attack the bishop, but Arnold isn't interested in going back. He goes knight to d6 with check. We have king to e7, and now knight captures on c8 with check. Arnold grabs the bishop pair, rook captures on c8, and now you could just move the bishop back. Let's say you go bishop to f4, you keep the bishop pair, and the game continues. But here we have a really interesting move by Arnold. He plays bishop captures on d4, which doesn't really make sense, as the bishop is attacked twice. So here we have queen captures on d4. His young adversary just grabs the piece, as Arnold just left it hanging. But it's hard to imagine, as if you've seen the game, you saw that Arnold had a clear plan. Knight c3, knight b5, bishop to f4, going for c7. And here, instead of just enjoying the position, he gives up a piece. So did he blunder the piece here, or did he just voluntarily gave up the advantage to his young adversary? It's hard to say. But okay, queen captures, bishop captures, and now Arnold goes for queenside castle. So black is up a piece. Bishop to e5, and now g3. Arnold prepares f4. We have knight to h6. Black has to figure out how to bring the knight into the game. And now f4. Attacking the bishop to d6, and now it's white could go for some bishop to b5 ideas. Let's say maybe then push e5, and maybe as the bishop controls d7, maybe there could be some tricks of rook coming to d7. But here Arnold spares no time. He immediately goes for e5, sacrifices yet another pawn. We have f captures on e5, f captures on e5, now comes bishop captures on e5, and bishop to h3. Going after the e6 pawn, and now the other rook is coming to e1, the bishop will have to move, and this pawn will become a target. So Michael defends it immediately. We have rook to c6, defending on e6, but also preparing to bring the other rook and double up on the c file. We have rook h to e1, attacking the bishop, but now the bishop can move, as this pawn is protected by the rook on c6. With g4, Arnold just keeps on moving forward. This is no reverse gear Arnold. Rook h to c8, doubling up here, going for the c2 pawn, and now comes rook to d2. You have to defend it. And here, but c3 would have been better, as now black has an opportunity to really punish white for his insolence of playing rook to d2. I'm sure you all see it without even pausing the video. It's bishop to g5, just pinning that rook. There's no way to prevent this, so we have rook to e2. And now, here his opponent Michael captured. Bishop captures on d2, but is there perhaps a better move than just capturing the rook? Feel free to pause the video and try to find a better move here than just capturing the rook. I'll give you a couple of seconds. It's, you know, a very nice idea. For those of you who were able to do it, you are an excellent checkmater in 2 moves with the rook. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, the rook is pinned, as we already mentioned, so rook captures here. And now it doesn't really matter where you go. If you go king b1 or king d1, any move you make, rook to c1 will be checkmate. So here, you know, luck often goes around, as Arnold blundered a piece, so here his opponent doesn't go for the immediate checkmate. He plays bishop captures, we have rook captures, and now e5. And this gives Arnold an opportunity for a very nice idea. Here Arnold goes g5, attacks the knight on h6, but also the rook on c8. So just waiting for his you know, opportunity like a true predator. Now, his opponent could play something like knight f7, give up the exchange, but he decides to preserve the rook. We have rook 8 to c7, g captures on h6, g captures on h6, and now Arnold just plays c3. Rook captures on c2 will no longer be a threat, and now this rook can finally move. We have king to f6, rook to f2 check, king to g7. We have rook to f5 attacking the pawn, and rook to e7, putting a rook behind a passed pawn. Bishop to g4, and now you have a rook behind the passed pawn, you have a passed pawn, so now all that's left is for you to push the passed pawn. We have e4, and now rook to f2, preparing to block the passed pawn. We have e3, rook to e2, and now rook to g6. Attacking the bishop, we have h3, and now rook to f6, going for rook to f2, black wants to exchange the rooks. We have king to c2. Rook to f2, now offering this idea. Of course, now it would be impossible to prevent the queening of the pawn. You cannot go bishop here, as the rook controls that square. So instead, king to d3. And now, of course, you cannot go checking in hopes of grabbing the rook that way, because king can capture here. But also that wouldn't be possible. For example, if you played this and king in fact capture here, it would be bad, because, yeah, I mean, I just realized that the bishop is actually attacking the rook. So that's my bad. But yeah, a rook captures was played. We have rook, sorry, king captures on e2, and now comes rook to e4. We have bishop to f3 attacking the rook, rook to e7, and now just king to d3. We have king to g6, h4, and now comes king to f5. Arnold tries to create a wall against the black king, but you know, you just can't cover f5. So we have king to f5, and white king can't really find any activity. The white king and the white bishop have to both keep an eye on the e2 square, so the pawn cannot be pushed. Here we have c4 by Arnold, king to f4 attacking the bishop, and now just bishop to h5. Again, trying to create a wall against the black king, but you can't cover all the squares. We have king to g3, and now king goes back to e2. King captures, bishop back to f3, and now king to g3, hoping to start pushing the passed pawns, but, you know, you do have to cover the h5 square somehow. Perhaps the black was hoping for rook to e5 and then pushing the pawn, so Arnold just prevents it. We have bishop to h5, king to h4, and bishop to f3. Arnold down 2 pawns, and down the exchange would definitely have nothing in, you know, would not mind repeating moves and reaching a draw, but his opponent goes now h5. The king is now protecting the pawn. We have c5 by Arnold, now finally starting to push his own pawns. King to g5, making room for the pawn, and now here we have c6. b4 would have been a more valiant attempt, but we're going to get back to this. Here Arnold plays c6. Okay, we have b captures, bishop captures on c6, and now h4. The other passed pawn is now starting to march forward. Bishop back to g2, and now king to g4. And now bishop to f3 check. King to g3 and bishop to d5. It seems like it might be better to push the pawns here, but it's all the same. We have h3, bishop to h1, now comes king to h2, bishop has to go back, bishop to d5, king to g1, now the pawn can finally be promoted on h1, bishop to f3, and now h2. Arnold starts pushing the pawns. We have b4, with h1 queen, white has to now capture, bishop captures, king captures, and now a4. Arnold starts pushing his pawns on the queen side in hopes of creating a pass pawn, but it is far too late for such things. King g2 was played, b5 now, we have h5 by black, a5, now comes h4, b6, Arnold finally creates a pass pawn on the queen side. We have pawn captures, and h3. And here you can no longer push the pawn as the rook is protecting it, but Arnold has to play something, so he goes b7. We have rook captures on b7, and here just king captures on e3. And here after h2, it was in this position that Arnold Schwarzenegger resigned the game. He didn't want to wait for move 64. But yeah, a very nice game, and I think this is the first game ever that we have access to the moves that were played by Arnold. I was trying to find such a game for a very long time, as I know he plays chess for almost his entire life, but I was unable to do so. So thank you very much, Nxc8 for sending me the moves, the photos, and this video. We're gonna check it out, as proof that the game did happen, but also as it's just very enjoyable. So here it is. For those of you who are wearing headphones, sorry about the sound if it will be too loud. I try to make it enjoyable, but we'll see. So here's the video. This is the end of the game. As you can see, black makes the room for the pawn. Arnold tries to create the pass pawn on the queen side, and here we have just captures, h3, and that's it. There is nothing to be played anymore. So yeah, there's a short clip. I have more of the footage, but I only decided to show this short amount. But yeah, I know you guys always say, that's a funny game to show, there are better games. But yeah, I always try to show games by celebrities, as celebrities are followed by a lot of people. And if those people see that the person they follow also plays chess, then that goes a long way in promotion of chess, as they will then think, okay, maybe chess is something not just people waste their time on, and maybe it's something worth taking up, and maybe they will try chess as well. So yeah, I think it was a very nice game. First, a really funny blunder by Arnold, just that bishop to d4, giving up a piece. But then opportunity presented itself, and he managed to grab the knight on h6 and continue playing this game. But I mentioned here in this moment, after king to g5, Arnold played c6. I mentioned that a more valiant attempt would have been b4. I mean, you do have a bishop. Your bishop is controlling h1, so it's not like black can just queen the pawn. So a possible scenario would be like something like h4, b5, h3, a4. Let's say you go king to f4, you have to bring the king into the game. a5, let's say you go king g3, b6, captures, and after, let's say, king to h2, you have to bring your king to g1. c6 captures, and now black could easily make a mistake of going king to g1, just hoping to castle. Here you have to go rook to f7, bring the rook to f8, and control the b8 that is now a dark square. You cannot protect it from a light square. Here, if black thought that maybe this would also be winning, he would be mistaken, because now b7, now you have to capture it, as the bishop is controlling this square. So after captures, you would bring a queen into the game, king captures, and now bishop captures, king captures, and you are not queening this pawn. The white king is in time. King f3, h5, king g3, and now you've just prevented the pawn from queening. King captures, and perhaps, the game would end in a draw. It's a far-fetched idea, but, a more valiant attempt than c6, I would say. But yeah, an interesting game, and like I said, after h2, Arnold resigned the game, and yeah, that's it. That's the game. I do hope you enjoyed it, and that you are enjoying, well, this not a coverage, but my choosing of the games. Like I said, thanks a lot, Mr. Nxc8 for all of you who are interested in his content. I have put a link in the description below. The first two links will lead you to his YouTube channel and his Instagram page, so do check it out. I would like to thank Dame Pletvarec, Andrew Lisitz, Shan Ambros Shan, Andriy Makuka and Lugard for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot, I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon. Continuing the Capablanca saga, most likely we're going to the game Capablanca versus Prokofiev. Thank you all, and I'll see you soon.